So, just allow me to introduce our first two guests. Is Bernard Wee, who hails from sunny Singapore, with a decade worth of experience in commercial photography. Second on the couch, we have Lee Rogers, who's been directing music videos, commercials, TV drama and short films for over 20 years.
So first I'm going to ask Lee to detail for us the trajectory of your career. Keeping in mind this seminar is about international jobs, so maybe telling us about how or why you chose to go abroad.
It kind of just happened naturally. I started making music videos for friends, like bands I knew, and so on weekends I'd shoot my mate skateboarding. I ended up making a skateboarding movie called Johnny Goes Off Down Under, and we sold that to Polygram, and that, you know, I interviewed Bones Brigade, Tony Hawk, and all the international skaters that came to Australia. We just called ourselves, you know, producers and directors and started shooting stuff. I had no idea where it was going to go or what we'd do with it. I kind of had a, you know what I mean, each job I'd go on as a technician, I'd be watching every department, I'd be watching the sound guys, the lighting guys, and just learning as much as I can, so that when I had an opportunity to call myself a director and producer and go and shoot something, I had half a clue, and I just, you know, pull it off.
You know, once I then got a name doing commercials, it then led to, you know, TV drama, and I made a movie, and I guess at this stage, you just want to get experience, confidence and runs on the board, so it doesn't matter what you're shooting, just make stuff.
Well, I'll just quickly throw to Bernard and ask you the same question to where did you get to where you are now?
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, cool. I started out at the age of 21. I enrolled into the art school and I wanted to major in photography. I actually knew that I wanted to do photography before that. I skipped the classes which I felt were not relevant to me, which is, well, it's not a good example, but the classes which I actually skipped, I went out to work as an assistant. And I guess I was pretty lucky that my first boss, he was an established photographer who was in and around the region in Asia. He gave me an advice that I should join like a big studio to assist and learn how the whole business side of photography works. And then I went on to another studio, which was also a pretty big commercial studio. But at that point of time, which was about after 5 years, I left school. I didn't even graduate, by the way. I guess I got it lucky because the studios which I've actually joined and worked with or worked for, they were already established. It's so much easier to actually just pick up a camera, shoot something, and call yourself a photographer or a videographer. But at the end of the day, what you shoot and what you produce needs to be of a certain standard.
I want to work in the film industry
and reach the furthest corners of the earth.
to step into the unknown and embrace change.
I am international.
Our next two guests are Kate Collinson and Josh McNichol. Having studied media and law at the University of Melbourne, an institution whose names we don't like to utter within these walls, Kate established her digital career in New York. She's now back in Melbourne and head of content for Vino Mofo. I had to check that before. Vino Mofo, an emerging online-based startup that sells only wines that we love. Josh is head of marketing at Communications for Australia. Is head of marketing and communications for Australia at Square, a payments technology company based in San Francisco. Please give a very warm welcome to our next two guests.
So my first question is to you, Kate, and just to tell us a bit more in detail about your career, how you got started, New York, and how you've come to this point.
So I was at Melbourne Uni, and in my defence, I did spend a year at RMI TV every Monday night doing TV because that was what my passion was. Yeah, so I was doing TV for quite a while alongside law, and that was sort of where my passion lay. And I was sort of doing paralegaling at a law firm and realised it wasn't really what I wanted to do. So I really wanted to go back to America and sort of explore what the opportunities were there. Had no real idea how bloody expensive it is. Before I left, I secured an internship with a documentary company that was paying me the hefty sum of $20 a day, which is great. Yeah, so America doesn't really do paid internships at all, which, you know, like it's kind of like the new slave labour. I started dog walking to sort of get paid for my rent, and was lucky enough that the woman whose dog I was walking worked at a experiential marketing agency, which is basically party planning for corporates. I moved over to a reality TV internship. That was the lowest of lows in my entire career. I was transcribing episodes of Say Yes to the Dress. I actually fell into marketing through a friend. She was doing digital marketing, started at a social media agency doing an internship there. But then I sort of moved over to, after about a year, to a more broader digital agency called Big Spaceship. We're doing a lot more digital tools, building apps, building websites, and that sort of thing. So Vinomofo sort of came along as an opportunity. I saw Andre, our CEO, speak at a conference and was just entirely enraptured by him and was like, I have to work for this guy. So I just, you know, went for it and reached out to him and was lucky enough to be there in the right place at the right time.
Okay, well, I'll throw to Josh now, and if you could do the same for us.
So I'm a media graduate. Getting out of here sounds like my 20s. You know, coming out of university, you know, I've done 2 degrees now. I've done undergrad and an MBA as well, majoring in marketing. I started out working with local brands, doing small, hard roles. So I started out with a local fashion label called Herringbone as a publicist. I was there for a few years. I had experience across publicity, web and e-commerce, ended up landing in marketing, which thankfully was where my education was taking me at the time anyway. And I started heading up their national marketing team eventually and helped them grow into a much bigger business. They're still around today. I think they've around 20 locations, I think, nationally. But from there, I wanted to move into the world of online e-commerce, sort of a passion of mine, technology, startups. It's an area I find very fascinating. The reason being is that I feel that to get anywhere in this world, networking is hugely essential, and it helps teach you a lot of lessons in terms of what you can take back to your own business, your own brand to apply. The benefit for me was that it helped me realise that in my 20s that Australia was a marketplace that I wanted to grow and develop outside of. So I moved over and spent some time in San Francisco and eventually landed a role with Square. I spent time working in their business team in San Francisco. I currently lead the marketing and comms team in Australia and now Japan as well. So a lot of my focus is across international expansion, which means I spend about 6 months of my year living out of San Francisco. As of now, I'll probably start spending at least a week, a month in Japan as well.
I want to work in the film industry
and reach the furthest corners of the earth.
To step into the unknown and embrace change.
I am international.